Hello, all you wonderful Rise of Kingdoms players out there. This is Dragothien here, and this is going to be a special video, and a little painful for some to watch, but here's what's going to happen. We are going to break down the cost of dead troops for the KVK that featured some of the biggest fighters in the game. One Bunny, one Zzang bot, one Wardenek, and one Cobra. Chuni was in that KVK. All kinds of different big fighters were in this KVK. We covered it in multiple streams live when it was popping off, as you can see behind you. This is just some of the content and coverage that we had on this, what was a climactic and explosive KVK. It was very, very intense. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually calculate the cost for those four players that I just described. Cobra and Wardenek from 375, Bunny and his losses, and also Zzang bot and his losses. This all happened over the course of roughly, for 375, it was only maybe 8 to 10 hours. For Bunny and Zzang, it was more in the a few day neighborhood, but the costs were significant and severe. What we're going to do is I'm going to set the baseline here, and I'm going to go ahead and drop the video behind me so you can start focusing on what will be the basis of our video here, and that's the calculator. So calculating the cost of troops, okay? The best way to do it that I'm aware of, and obviously it's not exact because you get troops and speed ups and resources and gems in this game in multiple different ways, for better or for worse, whether they're free or whether they're paid. And for the troop counts that we're talking about on this video particularly, you got to pay for them or save up for the entirety of the game to get to these kind of troop counts. So without further ado, let's break down what I mean by this, and that's basically breaking down how many troops you get per War Machine bundle with the speed ups and the gems that you get from a full purchase $385 of War Machine, and then taking that and setting it up against how many troops each one of these players has lost. We are going to assign a dollar value to each one of these players' troop loss count. Now, obviously they get half back, but I want to show you how much the total cost of the troops lost was during this heroic anthem. All right, here we go. So first off, let's break down how many troops you can get per War Machine. So you get roughly 41.4 days of speed ups between training and universal together, with a full $385 purchase of War Machine. Okay, so that's 41.4 days. The average 22,000 troop reserve training for a T5 set of troops is around 15 days or so, give or take half a day to a day, depending on if you have any extra buffs. If you have a troop training skin, which is very exclusive, 41 divided by 15, that gives you 2.7. So you multiply that by 22,000, you get 60,133. Let's round it down. Let's be favorable to my mental math, and say that's 60,000 troops that you get from a full purchase of War Machine T5 using expansions and kingdom buff and all that stuff. Usually it's like 16 to 17 days plus without kingdom buff. With kingdom buff, you can get it to about 15 to 16 days. Now the gems. The gems are where it's important. It's about 24,000 gems with the resources already being in your pack to gem 22,000 troops. So you get 95,000 troops, or 95,000 gems. Okay. You divide that by 24,000 per set of troops. That gives you 3.95. Multiply that by 22,000 for the actual troop. You get 87,000 troops that you can make with just gems. So we can go ahead and just round it up to 150 just to be, again, even. Okay, 2,000 troops here or there, it's not a big deal. 150,000 troops for a full purchase of War Machine at $385 US. Again, it varies depending on where you are at. Now, all right, so now that we have how many troops you can train using a full War Machine bundle at $385 per bundle, full, now we're going to start looking at the Hall of Heroes for these 4 players. I appreciate, first and foremost, before we move forward, all 4 of these players sending me their Hall of Heroes so that we can get the true number here as we go through and calculate painfully how much this KVK has cost each one of these individuals, and you're going to be stunned by the numbers that we come up with. So first, we're going to go ahead and unlock Cobra. This is Cobra behind me. These are the troops that he lost, full T5, almost exclusively. And again, if you remember correctly with the footage that you've seen on my stream of that KVK, he was basically helping solo defend a flag with Zenobia YSS, Zenobia Theo, etc. And that's where a lot of his T5 infantry went missing and ultimately running away. running away. Let's look at the number here. So this is 3,570,050 troops. 570,050. We're going to divide that by 150,000 because that's how many troops you can make in a bundle of War Machine. And then we're going to multiply that by 385. 3 million troops, 3.5 million troops cost Cobra $9,163 to make. He will get back half of these. So that flag, defending that one flag, divide that by 2, because he's not getting half of them back, cost him almost $4,600. Okay? So that's Cobra. And by the way, I'm going from smallest to largest on this list. So you're going to want to stick around to see what the rest of them are going to be. Okay, so that's Cobra. Here we go. Here's Wardenek from 375 as well. His total is 7,198,234 troops lost in what was about 8 to 9 hours of fighting in this KVK. Again, heavy fighters, guys. This is what it costs. Okay, this is what the big boys are doing. All right. All right, so we type in 7,198,234. And again, we do the math based on the War Machine bundle. You multiply this, or you divide this by 150,000. That equals 47.98. And then you times that by $385. Wardenek spent $18,475.47. If you divide this by 2, he will have spent $9,237.73 fighting for 8 hours against 254. That was the cost of Wardenek's fighting. And again, these numbers are a little fudgy because there's not all T5. There's some T4 in there too. Let's jump to Bunny. Your boy Bunny. Massive, massive troop cost here. So we've got 35,522,006 troops lost their lives in service of Bunny. Let's go ahead and bring the calculator back up. 35,522,006 troops divided by 150,000. This is going to be a bad number, guys. Times $385. And I know Bunny is in Australia, and I'm almost 100% that the dollar doesn't go it goes a lot farther than the Australian dollar. So I'm almost positive it's even more expensive for Bunny. I'm going to hit the enter button here. I'm going to hit the enter button here, and it's going to be so scary. Oh, Good Lord. Okay, so Bunny spent, this is before the halfback, $91,173.15 on 35 million and some change troops that were lost. And this is his total troops lost. It also does not, he's made more troops. So there's also more cost to remaking some of the troops that he's made back. I think he's up to 90 million or so right now, which is about 3 million T5, which again, we've already talked about, can be pretty costly. If we add another 3 million back onto that, this number is probably even higher. But this is just the dead count that we're talking about. And this again happened over the course of about a week or so for Bunny. And again, if we divide that by 2, his actualized total cost that he will not see back troop-wise is $45,586.57. This was Bunny's cost of warfare for about a week. Now, Bunny did mention Dr. Pickles, I believe, is another one that lost about 14 million or 11 million troops. We've seen what 3 and 7 million looked like. Those were pretty rough. Probably for Dr. Pickles, looking at about 30 to 35 grand total lost, and then halfback about $17,000 total loss actualized after getting half of your troops back. Okay, we've got one more, and this is the big boy. This is the big daddy. If Bunny wasn't enough, right? We're almost talking 6 figures for one player lost in a week or less. I would say the majority of that is in 2 days, if that. Let's go ahead and bring up Zzang. Zzangbot. Oh my goodness. And again, thank you all, 4 of these players, for sending me their Hall of Heroes to showcase this on this video. It's painful, but it's also knowledge. And you need to know when you're saying and complaining about the whales and how they get so much. And okay, well, are you ready to spend these kinds of numbers to get what they have? Okay, this is what we're talking about. Okay, this is Zzangbot. As you can see, this number is even higher than Bunny's. Okay, he did 43,957,391 million troops dead. Basically call it 44 million, but we will be exact for posterity. So bringing up the calculator window. And again, this is all T5, very few T4. He did lose some T1 as well. I'm not sure how those few creeped in there, but I'd be curious to hear the story. Here is the calculator with the troop count for Zzang lost. And again, we're dividing this by 150,000 to give us how many packs it would take to get this many troops if we were to buy them. And again, you can only buy this pack once a day. So some of these, like 236, that's 236 technically days that it would take to purchase that pack. Something to keep in mind, obviously, there were other packs bought to get these troops. War Machine's just the most efficient for troops. But you've got Call of the Ancients that I'm sure was used. I guarantee you they bought the resource bundles. I guarantee you they just bought gems, which is the least efficient thing you can possibly do. And I guarantee you all of these guys just smashed the gem creation button quite a few times as well. But this is the cost of doing business at this level of the game. We're going to hit the enter button here. This, if you purchase this once a day for 293 days, that's how long it takes you using War Machine only to get this many troops. And he lost them all in 1 week. When I say lost them, all these guys spent them to try and win KVK for their kingdoms. So get that right, Drago, right? They didn't lose them.
Haven't you noticed we've been sharing our culture with you all morning?
As a means to an end.
What is your profession?
One team didn't win. That's just welcome to life. All right. So now we're going to multiply this by $385. Now, again, as you can see, Zzang is a Korean player, so I don't know the ratio or adjustment from a monetary standpoint to the US dollar. I don't know if it's cheaper. I don't know if it's more expensive. It might be one or the other, but we're going off of US dollars here, folks. So multiply this by 385. Okay. So Zhang's dead troop worth is $112. $112,000. $823.97. $112,823.97. My mouth is just not working right now seeing these kinds of numbers populate from these calculations. This is the, if they didn't get anything back, this is how much money he spent to help his kingdom and his coalition of alliances, blah, 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 win KVK in this, what is probably one of the most expensive KVKs that I've ever seen. Certainly 401s rivals it. 307s against the Koreans last time rivals it. There's been plenty of KVKs that have had this kind of number, although it's usually spread out over multiple players. These are individual players who have used this money to win KVK. Divide this by 2. His actual total loss that he will never see back, $56,411.99. If we want to compare these numbers to things that you can use these dollars on, you should be seeing a nice little Mercedes float by. You should be seeing a nice boat float by. You should be seeing a house in southern Georgia float by. There's so many things that you can use for this money. Now, I'm never going to tell people how to spend their money, and I had a blast covering this, and I guarantee you, as much as this cost these 4 players, I guarantee you they wanted to spend this. I mean, they wanted to have the fun with this money this way. So I guarantee you they're not upset. But I also think it does sting a bit when you see the actual number. It's easy to say, yeah, I lost 43 million troops, or I lost 35 million troops, or I lost 8 million troops, or 13 million troops, or whatever, because there's no dollar sign attached to it. Well, now we have the dollar sign attached to it. And man, is that painful to see. Kudos to all of these players, obviously, for giving us as well as themselves the entertainment value for free for us, by the way. Obviously not free based on this video for these players, but these are also the top of the top of the top, the tip of the top, the cream of the crop, that kind of thing. These are the ones that are the very, very, very top players in their respective kingdoms that are willing to spend not only the money but also the troops to actually win these KVKs for their kingdoms. They deserve the praise and the accolade, and certainly the recognition and the attention from their kingdoms. And also, for all of us, the money that they spend goes into helping us get things. And I'm a heavy spender. I'm not that heavy spender for 1 KVK at least. I've spent those numbers over the course of my entire rock career, but not those numbers on 1 KVK for some of them an afternoon and others for a week of gameplay. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope it's been illuminating on how much these guys actually spend into the game. And again, the numbers truly are higher than what I just said, because they're not just using War Machine. They're using 5 other different types of bundles. They're buying gems directly. And those costs are higher than what War Machine provides. Now, also, you have events that give you speed ups, that give you gems, that give you those things, and those things do add up. But I think that might be 500,000 troops worth of free stuff, maybe 100,000, or maybe 1 million if you're really lucky and you're really active and you're doing every single event all the time, every day for a year. That's not the case with these guys. As you can tell, they're spending in the millions of troops in an afternoon versus millions of troops over the course of 2 years of playing this game. So, wow. Hope you guys have enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Cheers. Have a good one and take care.